The group walked back into the outpost through the broken door. Dust from the fight still floated in the low gravity, settling slowly on the metal floor. John led the way without looking back. Laura followed close behind him. The Vexari warriors came after, their heavy steps making the ground shake a little. Calthor limped now, one leg dragging slightly from the hip to his knee. He kept his head high, but pain showed in the tight line of his mandibles. Inside the main room, the air felt warmer. The soft lights made everything look calm again. Plants in pots lined the walls, their green leaves bright against the gray steel. A few chairs stood around the low table. The half-eaten meal was still there. Bread, some dried meat, a jug of water. John stopped near the table and turned to face Calthor. The other Vexari spread out behind their commander, lances still in their hands, but points down. "You wanted to see our strength," John said. His voice stayed even. "You saw some of it outside. The rest is different." Calthor clicked his mandibles once. "Different how? More tricks? More speed? Or do you have hidden weapons?" John shook his head. "No hidden weapons, just truth. The galaxy thinks we are monsters because we win fights. But winning is not the whole story." Laura set her tablet on the table. She looked at Calthor without fear. "You came here to scare us, to make us bow. It did not work. Now you wonder why." Calthor stepped closer. His shadow fell over both humans again. "Explain, or we finish this now." John pointed to a heavy door on the far wall. It had a small window at eye level for humans. A warm yellow light came through it. Soft sounds drifted out. Quiet music, a low hum, something like gentle breathing. "Our companions are in there," John said. "Come see." Calthor looked at the door, then at his warriors. They shifted, unsure. One of them, a younger Vexari named Vexor, gripped his lance tighter. "Commander, this could be a trap. They speak in riddles." Calthor raised a claw to silence him. "If it is a trap, we burn them all. But I want to know what makes these Grimspawn different." He nodded to John. John walked to the door. He pressed a panel on the wall. The door slid open with a soft hiss. Warm air flowed out, carrying the smell of clean fur and faint soap. The Vexari hesitated at the threshold. Then they followed. The room was large and open. Thick rugs covered the floor. Couches and low beds sat along the walls. Toys lay scattered. Balls, ropes, small stuffed animals. Soft lights hung from the ceiling. Not bright, just enough to see clearly. And everywhere, small living things moved. A big golden dog with long fur trotted forward first. His tail swung back and forth like a flag. He went straight to John, pushed his wet nose into John's hand, and let out a happy huff. John dropped to one knee and scratched behind the dog's ears. The dog leaned hard against him, eyes half closed in joy. A gray cat with stripes jumped down from a high shelf. She landed without a sound and walked to Laura. Laura bent and picked her up. The cat settled on her shoulder, curled her tail around Laura's neck, and started to purr. The sound filled the quiet room. More animals appeared. A black dog with white paws dropped a slobbery red ball at Calthor's feet. He stared down at it. The dog sat and looked up, tongue out, waiting. A small white rabbit hopped across the rug. It stopped near a warrior's boot, sniffed, then kept going. Two bright birds sat on a wooden stand. One whistled a short tune, the other answered. Calthor stood frozen. His compound eyes moved from one creature to the next. The Vexari warriors behind him made low clicking sounds, shock, confusion, something close to fear. These were not war beasts, no teeth like blades, no claws that could rip armor, no size or poison, just soft fur, wet noses, bright eyes, things that broke easily, things that needed care every day. John stood up. The golden dog, Buddy, stayed close to his leg. This is Buddy, best friend I ever had. The cat is Whiskers. She likes to sleep on keyboards when we work. Laura stroked Whiskers' back. They came with us from Earth. Some were born here. We take care of them. They take care of us in their way. Calthor stared at the black dog still waiting by his feet. The dog tilted his head and wagged harder. Calthor did not move. You keep these? He asked. His voice came out rougher than before. Why? They give no protection. They eat your food. They make mess. One strong wind could kill them. John looked straight at him. They give loyalty. Trust. They love us, even when we are tired, or angry, or hurt. We fight so hard out there, because we have something worth protecting in here. A warrior near the back laughed, a short, nervous sound. This is madness. The Grimspawn rule by fear. They destroy fleets, and they keep pets like children keep toys? Laura turned to him. Not toys. Family. You hurt one of them, you hurt all of us. More than you can imagine. Calthor took one step forward. The black dog, Max, nudged the ball closer with his nose. Calthor looked down again. Then he bent slowly. His armored claw closed around the ball. He lifted it. Max barked once, short and excited. The sound echoed in the room. Every Vexari turned to look. Calthor held the ball for a moment. Then he tossed it lightly across the rug. Max ran after it, legs pumping, tail a blur. He caught it and brought it back, dropping it at Calthor's feet again. The commander stared at the dog, then at John. You let weakness live with you, Calthor said. You feed it. You clean after it. You fight wars to keep it safe. John nodded. We do. And we would die for them, every one of us. Silence fell. The only sounds were the soft purr from Whiskers, the quiet panting of Buddy, the small hops of the rabbit. Vexor, the young warrior, stepped forward. His voice shook a little. This makes no sense. Strength comes from killing weakness, not from guarding it. John met his eyes. Maybe for you. For us, real strength starts with caring, with choosing to protect what cannot protect itself. That is why we do not break. That is why your fleets fear us now. Calthor looked around the room one more time, at the animals, at the humans who stood calm among them, at the way Buddy pressed against John's leg like he belonged there. Something shifted in the commander's stance. Not fear exactly, but understanding. A cold, sharp kind. He turned to his warriors. We leave this place. Now. No one argued. They backed toward the door, slow and careful, like they walked past something dangerous. Calthor stopped at the threshold. He looked back at John. You are not what we thought, he said. The galaxy will hear this. John shrugged. Tell them what you want. Just remember one thing. He scratched Buddy's head again. The dog leaned in, happy and safe. If anyone comes for our companions, John said, we stop being nice. Calthor nodded once. Then he turned and walked out. The Vexari followed. Their steps echoed down the corridor. Outside, the dropships waited under the weak sun. Inside the room, Buddy picked up his ball and dropped it at John's feet. John laughed, a real quiet laugh, and threw it again. The door slid shut behind the last warrior. The Grimspawns stayed where they were, quiet, safe, together. The Vexari warriors backed out of the companion room slowly. Their heavy boots scraped the metal floor. No one spoke. The soft purr of Whiskers and the quiet panting of Buddy followed them like echoes. The door slid shut with a gentle hiss, cutting off the warm light and the animal sounds. Calthor led them down the short corridor, back to the main dome. His limp was worse now. Each step sent a sharp pain through his damaged knee, but he refused to show it more than he already had. His warriors stayed close, lances still in their grips. Their compound eyes darted around, as if they expected an attack from the shadows. They stopped in the center of the main room. The broken outer door let in cold moon air. Dust swirled in lazy circles near the floor. John and Laura had not followed right away. They stayed behind for a moment, making sure the animals were settled. Then they walked out to join the aliens. John wiped his hands on his jumpsuit. Laura crossed her arms and leaned against a table. Calthor turned to face them. His voice came out low and rough. You let those soft things live among you. You feed them. You clean their waste. You speak to them like equals. And yet you broke me in combat without breaking sweat. John nodded once. That's right. Why? Calthor asked. The word hung heavy in the air. In our worlds, weakness dies. We crush it. We do not cradle it. Laura answered before John could. Because we know what real weakness looks like. Not small paws or soft fur. Real weakness is a being who has no one to care for. No one who cares back. That kind of empty makes monsters. We choose different. Calthor clicked his mandibles. You speak in riddles again. The galaxy calls you Grimspawn, Deathwalkers. You leave battlefields silent. No prisoners, no mercy. How does that fit with this caring? John looked straight at him. We do not kill for fun. We kill to protect what matters. Pirates came for our ships. They killed children. They burned homes. So we hunted them. Every last one. Not because we enjoy it. Because if we let them live, they would come again. And next time, maybe Buddy or Whiskers or one of the kids would pay the price. A warrior near the back shifted. You fight like demons over animals? Over family, John corrected. Same thing. Calthor stared at the humans. Something cold moved behind his eyes. Not anger now. Something deeper. He had seen many species in his long years of war. All of them feared death. All of them begged when cornered. These Grimspawn did neither. They stood calm. They explained their reasons like facts. And in their eyes burned a quiet promise. Hurt what we love, and we become the thing you fear most. Vexor, the young warrior who had laughed earlier, stepped forward. His voice shook less now, but still carried doubt. Prove it. Show us this promise is real. Or we call your words empty. John raised an eyebrow. You want proof? Vexor looked at Whisker's favorite perch on the shelf near the door. The gray cat had followed them out and now sat there, tail flicking slowly. Vexor lifted his lance. The plasma tip glowed blue. He pointed it straight at the cat. Whiskers blinked once. She did not run. She just watched. The room went still. Calthor started to raise a claw to stop him. Too late. Vexor moved. The lance thrust forward in a clean arc toward the cat. John moved faster. No one saw the full motion. One heartbeat Vexor stood with his weapon raised. The next, John was there. He caught the lance shaft in one hand, twisted. The weapon flew from Vexor's grip and clattered across the floor. John's other hand shot out, fingers closed around Vexor's throat armor. He drove the warrior back 3 steps and slammed him against the wall. Metal rang from the impact. John pressed his knee into Vexor's midsection. Not hard enough to break chitin, hard enough to pin him. His face stayed calm. His voice stayed low. Touch my cat again, John said, and I end you. Not slow, not painful, just done, because you threatened someone under my protection. Vexor gasped. His mandibles worked, but no sound came out. The other Vexari raised their lances. Plasma tips lit up the room in cold blue. Laura stepped forward. She did not raise her voice. Lower them, now, or this ends badly for everyone. Brian, another human who had stayed quiet until now, appeared from a side door. He held no weapon, just stood there with 2 more dogs at his heels, a brown one named Scout, and a small terrier named Rusty. The dogs growled low, hackles up. They sensed the tension. They placed themselves between Brian and the aliens. More humans came quietly from other rooms. 5, 6, all calm, all ready. No panic, no shouting, just people who knew exactly what came next if things went wrong. Calthor raised both claws high. Stand down! His warriors froze. Lances stayed up, but did not move closer. Calthor limped forward. He looked at John, at the pinned Vexor, at Whiskers, who had not moved from her perch. The cat yawned once, showing small, sharp teeth, then licked a paw, like nothing happened. John held Vexor a moment longer. Then he let go. Vexor slid down the wall and sat hard on the floor. His breathing came in quick clicks. John stepped back. He looked at Calthor. That was your proof. Calthor stared at the scene. The small human who had just disarmed an elite warrior without effort. The cat, who trusted her human enough to stay put during a threat. The dogs who stood guard without command. The other humans who appeared ready to fight to the last breath. He saw it then, clear as starlight. These Grimspawn did not fear death. They feared loss. And that fear made them more dangerous than any army. Because when you fight for something you love, something soft, something helpless, you do not stop. You do not hesitate. You do not bargain. Calthor turned to his warriors. His voice cut through the silence. We leave, all of us, back to the ships. No one questioned him. They lowered their lances. They moved toward the broken door in tight formation. Vexor pushed himself up and limped after them. No one helped him. Calthor stopped at the threshold. He looked back one last time. Your companions, he said to John. They choose to stay with you, even when they could run, even when danger comes. John scratched behind Buddy's ears. The golden dog leaned into him. They do. Calthor nodded slowly. Then you are not monsters. You are something worse. You are guardians who will burn worlds to keep one small life safe. He turned and walked out into the dust. Their dropships waited under the pale sun. Engines hummed to life as they boarded. Inside the dome, Whiskers jumped down from her perch. She walked to John and rubbed against his leg. Buddy licked his hand. Scout and Rusty sat close to Brian. The other humans relaxed. No cheers, no victory shouts, just quiet relief. John looked out through the broken door. The alien ships rose one by one. They climbed into the black sky and joined the fleet above. Laura came to stand beside him. Think they'll come back? John shrugged. Maybe, but next time they'll knock first. Buddy barked once, happy and loud. The sound bounced off the walls. Outside, the moon stayed silent. The stars watched. And somewhere in the vast dark, word began to spread. The Grimspawn kept companions. Small, soft, helpless. And for those companions, they would end stars. The Vexari warriors filed out of the dome one by one. Their armored feet kicked up small clouds of dust that hung in the thin air. The broken doorframe cast jagged shadows across the gray ground. Calthor walked last. He did not look back right away. His damaged knee throbbed with every step, but the real pain sat deeper in his mind. He stopped just outside the airlock. The weak sun of the moon painted everything in pale silver. Above, the Coalition fleet waited like a dark cloud of ships. Engines hummed faintly through the vacuum. Calthor raised one claw. The dropships lowered their ramps again. His warriors boarded without a word. No battle cries, no threats, just silence. Inside the dome, John stood near the open door. Buddy sat at his feet, tail sweeping slow arcs across the floor. Whiskers perched on a nearby crate, eyes half closed. Laura leaned against the wall. Brian waited with Scout and Rusty. The other humans had gone back to their tasks, checking plants, fixing equipment, but they stayed close enough to hear. John watched the aliens leave. He did not smile. He did not relax fully. Not yet. Calthor turned. His compound eyes locked on John across the open space. You let us walk away, he said. His voice carried clear in the thin air. You could have killed us all, taken our ships, ended this here. John shrugged. No need, you saw what you came to see. Calthor clicked once. I saw more than I expected. Your kind does not fight for land, or power, or glory. You fight for them. He nodded toward Buddy. The golden dog looked up at John, then at the tall alien, curious but calm. Family, John said simply. Calthor took one step closer. Dust puffed around his boot. In our histories, we tell stories of monsters, beings who destroy without reason, who feel nothing. We thought you were those monsters, Grimspawn. Death, given form. He paused. His mandibles worked slowly. But you are worse. John raised an eyebrow. Worse? You care, Calthor said. You choose to care for things that cannot fight back. Things that die easy. Things that need you every day. And because of that choice, you become unstoppable. A warrior who fights for pride can be broken. A warrior who fights for nothing can be ignored. But one who fights for the helpless, that one burns until nothing is left. Buddy whined softly. He pressed against John's leg. John dropped a hand to the dog's head. Fingers moved gentle through thick fur. Calthor watched the motion. Something shifted in his stance. Not defeat, not fear, recognition. We will leave your sector, he said. The coalition will mark this place. No fleets will come, no claims, no raids. John nodded. Smart choice. Calthor looked up at the sky. The fleet's lights blinked in patterns. Orders already going out. One last question, he said. John waited. Why keep them at all? You could live without the burden. Stronger, faster, free. John looked down at Buddy. The dog met his eyes. Pure trust. No questions, no doubts. Because life without them would be empty, John said. We built ships to cross stars. We learned to fight so we could survive. But we kept them because they remind us why any of it matters. A cold universe, hard choices, dark days. Then you come home, and something warm meets you at the door, wags its tail, asks for nothing but you. That is worth more than any victory. Laura stepped forward. Whiskers jumped to her shoulder. We are not kind because we are weak, she said. We are strong because we are kind. The two go together. Calthor stared at them, at the small group of humans, at the animals who chose to stay close. No chains, no force, just choice. A gesture his people rarely used. Then the galaxy will learn, he said. Approach the Grimspawn with care. Do not threaten what they guard, because what they guard makes them more dangerous than any weapon. He turned, limped to the last dropship. The ramp closed behind him. Engines flared. The ship rose straight up. Dust swirled in a wide circle. Then it joined the others. The fleet turned as one. Lights dimmed. They moved away into the black. Silence returned to the moon. Inside, John closed the broken door as best he could. A temporary patch would hold until they fixed it proper. Buddy trotted after him. Whiskers rode on Laura's shoulder like a gray scarf. Brian clapped John on the back. Think they got the message? John looked at the sky through a small window. Stars burned steady. No ships left in sight. They got it, he said. The humans went back to their work. Lights stayed soft. Music played low from hidden speakers. Animals moved freely. A rabbit hopped across the rug. Birds whistled short tunes. Max dropped his ball near Scout. The dogs played quiet. John sat on a low couch. Buddy jumped up beside him. Heavy head rested on John's lap. John scratched behind the ears. Buddy sighed, a long, happy sound. Laura sat across from him. Whiskers curled in her lap. What now? John looked around the room, at the life they had built here. Small, simple, precious. Now we keep going, he said. Same as always. Fix the dome, grow the food, train if we need to, and take care of them. Buddy licked his hand. John smiled. Outside, the moon turned slow. Craters stayed dark. Dust settled. The outpost lights glowed steady against the black. Word would spread. Traders would whisper in ports. Captains would warn crews. Diplomats would mark charts with new lines. The Grimspawn hold companions, soft ones, ones that love without condition. And for those companions, the Grimspawn will cross oceans of stars. They will break armies. They will face death without blink. Because love is the sharpest blade of all. In the quiet dome, Whiskers purred. Buddy dreamed with twitching paws. John closed his eyes for a moment. Peace settled over everything. The galaxy moved on, bigger, colder, but a little wiser. And on that small moon, a handful of humans and their animals lived on. Safe, together, unbreakable. The drop ships rose fast into the thin sky. Their engines flared bright against the gray moon's surface. Dust swirled in wide circles below them. One by one, the small craft docked with the waiting fleet. The coalition ships hung like dark knives in the black. Lights blinked along their hulls. Then, as if on a single command, the whole formation turned. Engines glowed soft red. They pulled away from the moon. They left the small outpost behind. No shots fired, no final threats, just silence. Inside the dome, John watched through the thick window. The fleet shrank to points of light. Then, nothing. Only stars. Buddy sat beside him. The golden dog leaned heavy against his leg. John rested a hand on Buddy's broad head. Fingers moved slow, through warm fur. Laura stood next to him. Whiskers rode her shoulder. The gray cat watched the sky too. Her tail flicked once. Then she settled, purring low. Brian came up behind them. Scout and Rusty followed close. The brown dog sniffed the air. The small terrier sat and tilted his head. They really left, Brian said. His voice stayed quiet. No fight, no nothing. John nodded. They saw enough. The room felt bigger now. The broken door still gaped open. Cold air crept in. A few humans moved to patch it. Metal sheets clanged softly. Tools clicked. Life went on. John turned from the window. He walked to the low couch. Buddy jumped up beside him. The dog curled tight, head on John's lap, eyes closed in trust. John scratched behind the ears. Buddy sighed deep and happy. Laura sat across from them. Whiskers jumped down to her lap, curled into a tight ball. Purring filled the quiet space. More animals stirred. Max trotted over with his red ball, dropped it at Brian's feet. Brian picked it up, tossed it gentle across the rug. Max ran, legs pumped, tail blurred. He brought it back, dropped it again. The game went slow and easy. A rabbit hopped out from under a table, sniffed the air, then hopped to a patch of soft light. Two birds on their stand whistled back and forth. Short tunes, happy sounds. John looked around, at the rugs worn from paws, at the toys scattered, at the plants growing green under lamps, at the people who moved calm and sure, at the animals who chose this place, chose them. He thought about the Vexari, tall, armored, built for war. They had come ready to crush, ready to claim. Instead they left changed. They had seen something they could not fight, not with blades, not with ships, not with fear. A small thing, soft, helpless, loved. That was the weapon no one expected. John spoke low. They will tell others. Laura looked up. Good, let them talk. Let the whole galaxy know. Brian laughed once, short and real. Imagine the stories. Big bad warriors run from pets. Not from pets, John said. From what the pets mean. He looked down at Buddy. The dog opened one eye, looked back. Pure calm. No worry, no doubt. We fight hard, John went on. We win ugly sometimes. But it starts here, in this room, with them depending on us, needing us, choosing us every day. That makes the difference. Whiskers stretched, yawned wide, small teeth flashed. Then she curled tighter, purring louder. Outside, the moon kept turning, slow, steady. Craters stayed black. Dust lay still. The outpost lights glowed warm against the dark. A small beacon in empty space. Days passed quiet. The humans fixed the door, welded new plates, made it strong again. They checked the farms, watered plants, harvested greens, fed the animals, walked the dogs in the sealed craters when air allowed, played with the cats, talked to the birds. Normal life, simple life, the kind worth guarding. Word spread fast in the galaxy. Traders carried it first, in dim bars. Captains whispered over drinks. The Vexarai backed down. No battle, just left. Why? Others asked. Because the Grimspawn keep companions. Small things, soft things. They love them, protect them, die for them. Laughter came at first, then silence, then fear. Diplomats marked new charts, red lines drawn careful around the sector. Do not approach, do not provoke. Pirates listened too, the ones left alive after old raids. They steered wide, told new crews, stay away from that moon. The humans there, they do not forgive threats to their own. Ships changed course, fleets turned back. Space grew quieter around Outpost 47. Inside, no one bragged, no one celebrated loud. They just kept on. One evening, moontime meant little, but they kept a clock. John sat outside in a sealed suit. Buddy ran free in the low-gravity crater. The dog bounded high, chased shadows, came back panting, tongue out, happy. Removed his helmet for a moment. Thin air bit cold, but the suit kept him safe enough. Buddy pressed close, warm fur against cold metal. John looked up. Stars burned bright. No ships, no threats. Just us, he said soft. Buddy licked his glove, tail wagged. Back inside, Laura fed Whiskers bits of fish from a can. The cat ate slow, delicate, then licked her paws clean. Brian tossed a ball for Scout. Rusty barked and joined in. The three played until tired. The rabbits slept in a warm box. Birds settled on their perch. Quiet settled over everything. John came back in, removed the suit. Buddy followed close, shook dust from his fur. John sat. Buddy curled at his feet. Laura looked over. You okay? John nodded. Yeah, just thinking. About what? About how lucky we are. All of this. The quiet, the company, the chance to keep it. We earned it. We did. The lights dimmed for night cycle. Soft glow only. Animals slept. Humans rested. In the vast dark outside, the galaxy turned. Worlds spun. Wars raged far away. But here on this small moon, something different held. Not power, not fear. Devotion. The kind that makes a person stand against armies. The kind that turns killers into guardians. The kind that says, hurt this small life and face the storm. John closed his eyes. Buddy's breathing stayed steady. Whiskers purred faint. Max snored soft in the corner. Peace. Real peace. The title of the old reports would echo forever in quiet corners. Alien warriors stood paralyzed after witnessing what Grimspawn keep as companions. They had seen the truth. The Galactic Coalition fleet hung in the black void like a storm of steel insects. At its head flew the flagship of the Vexari, a massive vessel shaped like a jagged claw. Commander Calthor stood on the bridge, his tall frame covered in thick chitin armor that gleamed under the red lights. His compound eyes scanned the viewscreen. The reports had come in for weeks. A new species called Grimspawn had appeared on the edge of known space. They had wiped out 3 pirate fleets in brutal fights. No survivors, no mercy, no demands for ransom. The Vexari were the strongest warriors in the coalition. Every other race feared them. Their bodies were built for war, 7 feet tall, armored like beetles, with sharp blades on their forearms and plasma lances that could cut through rock. Calthor had crushed rebellions on a dozen worlds. He expected these Grimspawn to bow or die. Scans showed only one small outpost on a dead moon. No fleet, no heavy guns. Just a handful of metal domes clustered together, with weak lights and thin air shields. It looked like a mining camp, nothing more. Calthor clicked his mandibles in amusement. They hide in holes like insects. We will pull them out. He ordered 3 dropships to land. 50 elite Vexari warriors boarded them, armed with lances and shock shields. The ships fell through the thin atmosphere, kicking up dust clouds on the gray surface. When the ramps opened, the warriors marched out in tight formation. Their boots crunched on loose rocks. The moon had no wind, so the dust hung in the air like smoke. Ahead stood the main dome. It was round and plain, made of dull steel plates. A single airlock door faced them. Above the door, a small sign read Outpost 47, Harris Research Station. No guards, no turrets. Calthor raised one clawed hand. A warrior stepped forward and connected a speaker to the door panel. The voice boomed across the open ground in standard trade language. This is Commander Calthor of the Vexari Coalition. The Grimspawn will open this door and submit to inspection. Refuse, and we burn your home to slag. Silence answered. No reply. No movement. Calthor signaled. 2 warriors placed charges on the door. The explosion was quick and clean. The metal buckled inward with a bright flash. Smoke cleared, revealing the inside. The Vexari rushed in, lances raised. They expected screams, running figures, maybe a last desperate fight. Instead, they found a quiet room. Soft white lights lit the space. Tables held plants in pots. A few chairs sat around a low table with cups and a half-eaten meal. The air smelled clean, almost sweet from growing greens. At the center stood 2 humans. A man named John Harris waited with his arms crossed. He wore a plain gray jumpsuit, no armor, no weapons visible. His face was calm, almost bored. Next to him stood a woman named Laura Bennett. She held a small tablet in one hand and looked up from it without hurry. The Vexari spread out, surrounding them. Calthor stepped forward, towering over the humans. His shadow covered them both. "You are the Grimspawn?" he asked, voice low and rough, like grinding stones. John looked up at the huge alien. He nodded once. "That's what you call us. I'm John. This is Laura." Laura gave a small wave. "Hi." Calthor stared. No fear in their eyes, no trembling. He had seen thousands of beings cower before him. These 2 stood like they waited for a friend. "You destroyed 3 fleets," Calthor said. "You kill without warning. Why?" John shrugged. "Those pirates hit our colony ships first, killed families, took what they wanted. We went after them, ended it." Calthor laughed, a sharp clicking sound. "You speak as if it was simple. Our scans show no army here, no ships, just this weak camp. How do small things like you win such fights?" John smiled a little. "We get by." Calthor leaned closer. His breath hissed through his mouthparts. "The Coalition claims this sector. You will swear loyalty or leave. Choose now. John met his gaze. We like it here. Good soil under the domes. Quiet. We stay. Anger rose in Calthor. No one spoke to him this way. He raised his lance. The tip glowed blue with plasma. Then you die. Laura sighed. Can we talk first? Fighting is messy. Blood everywhere. Hard to clean. The Vexari warriors shifted, confused. Some lowered their weapons slightly. Calthor paused. These Grimspawn did not beg. They did not threaten. They acted like the outcome did not matter. He lowered the lance a fraction. Show me your strength. Prove you deserve to stay. John uncrossed his arms. Okay. Outside. More room. The group moved back through the broken door. Dust still floated in the low gravity. The humans walked ahead without rush. The Vexari followed, forming a loose circle in the wide crater beyond the dome. John stopped in the center. He rolled his shoulders once. Rules? Calthor tossed his lance to a warrior. He extended his forearm blades. No weapons, just us. If you win, we talk more. If you lose, your people leave this moon forever. John nodded. Fair. The two faced each other. Calthor was twice as tall, 3 times heavier. His chitin plates shifted as he crouched low, ready to charge. John stood straight, hands loose at his sides. Calthor lunged. His speed surprised even his own warriors. One moment he stood still. The next he crossed the distance in a blur, blades slashing for John's chest. John stepped sideways. Not far. Just enough. The blades cut empty air. Calthor spun, aiming a kick at John's legs. John dropped low, rolled under it, and came up behind. He drove an elbow into the back of Calthor's knee joint, the one spot where chitin was thin. A crack sounded. Calthor stumbled. The Vexari hissed in shock. Calthor roared and swung again, faster, harder. John dodged each strike. He did not block. He moved like water, always a step ahead. When Calthor overreached, John struck. Quick punches to joints, a knee to the gut, a chop to the neck. Calthor staggered. His breathing came in harsh clicks. John did not press. He stepped back. Enough? Calthor straightened slowly. Pain showed in his stance, but he refused to fall. He looked at the small human who had broken him without breaking a sweat. You fight like death itself, he said. John wiped dust from his hands. Nah, just practice. The Vexari warriors stood frozen. Their commander, undefeated for years, now limped from one small Grimspawn. His eyes locked on John. There is more to your kind, he said. I feel it. What do you hide? John glanced toward a sealed side dome connected to the main one. A soft light glowed behind its window. Our real strength is inside, he said. Come meet our companions, then you'll understand. Calthor hesitated, then he nodded once. The humans turned and walked back toward the outpost. The Vexari followed, silent now, their lances lowered. Behind them, the moon's weak sun cast long shadows across the dust. The fleet above watched, waiting. No one knew yet what waited in that quiet dome, but the air felt heavier, like the start of something no one could stop.